Hey everybody, it's Adam from Obsolete Machines. Some of you know me and some of you don't. And if you don't, welcome to my world. I just released a track called Playful Days. As a way to cope for the passing of my brother a couple years ago. And it was a process that kind of started when I picked up a guitar, and I didn't really play much guitar. I'm usually a synth guy, but I picked up this guitar that had been sitting in my garage for a while. It was gifted by my bandmate Shanna, and she got it from a friend, her hippie spiritual friend, Jessica Dawn, who's kind of like the mother of the world. She's kind of like the physical embodiment of Mother Earth. But when I first got the guitar, I tried to play it, and it felt like didn't have a very warm sound, but I kept it in my garage, and a couple years passed, and it went through hot and cold, and all the temperature changes messed with the wood to a degree where it seemed to like open it up and give it a really, really warm and resonant sound. And then when I started to struggle with the feelings of my brother being sick in the hospital, and then directly after he passed, being able to play this guitar and hold it up to my body and feel it vibrate when I strummed it was kind of like a cat purring on you kind of comfort, but there was this warmth and resonance and the ability to change the way that it would vibrate and buzz through my body was almost like finding and honing in on the feeling of what needed to be vibrated out of me. And so I could like find that resonance through the vibration of my guitar that represented the way that my heart was being shooken up. So with that being said, I want to show you this guitar because I'm not a tech guy and I don't really I'm not brand loyal really, but this is a little junky beater up that sometimes it rattles, but it's an Ibanez, and it just is incredibly meaningful to me, and it's kind of my spirit animal right now. And I wrote a bunch of songs. It got me through a lot of feelings, and there's a bunch of songs that I've written on this thing that I still have to show you guys, but like I said, I just recently released Playful Days. Part of that, it starts with the bass on this guitar, the main line, and then I added some electric guitar and some bass. So it's the most, I've been doing a lot of electronic stuff recently, so it's definitely going in a more organic route, and almost all of it's all completely organic. It's just guitars, bass, and then drums, and it's all played in real time. There's no sequencers or backtracks, and I did every instrument in one take, vocals too, but I did everything in one take. I didn't really want it to be, if there was flaws, I was okay with that. If it was really off, I'd try it again, but I didn't want to section by section pick it apart. I really wanted to do a full song as if it was something that was performed right off the bat. But here's the bass that I used on the track. It's a weird homemade design. I can't remember the name of the guy who made this bass, but Shanna, my bandmate, she didn't gift this one to me. She just let me borrow it to see if I could use it on it. It's a fretless bass. Well, this thing's weird. It was such a beast when I first got it. I'm like, there's no way I can use this. But then what I do, because I'm not a bassist, but what I do is I take tiny little pieces of tape and put it on the positions that I know I need to get my finger to go, and then create my riff piece by piece, and then reposition the tape for different parts of songs. But this last song, Playful Days, wasn't too much of a beast for a bass line. I did an earlier song that I'll talk about later that was a little more aggressive and required me to pluck this thing and move around a lot more. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys my the instruments that I use, and kind of let you know that you really don't need to spend a lot of money to make music. My studio's the whole song was done in a small bedroom. I mean, it's not sound treated at all. I don't use like high-end equipment. I use a lot of hardware. Well, I'll talk about that in the future too, like what I'm actually using in the studio and the processes I go through. But these are the instruments that I used on the track, and got a couple effects that I use to kind of create some strange sounds too. But really, honestly, all you really need is creativity and a beat up guitar, and you can do some pretty dope shit. But with that being said, please go take a listen to the song. It was a really tricky process for me, but it was a really important process. It's called Playful Days. It's on Spotify and other streaming sites. And leave a comment below if you get a chance to listen to it, if you haven't already, and tell me what you think about it, and let me know in the comments what you do as a coping mechanism to deal with tragedy in your life or difficulties in your life. For me, this guitar became my spirit animal because of the way it vibrates. So maybe it's a cat, maybe that's maybe that's my electronic cat. I got one more thing to say. It's nothing to do with me, but I know this COVID thing, and there's a lot of crazy stuff in politics and a lot of social things going on that are really difficult to deal with, and we're all going through a hard time understanding one another, and there's been a big divide in society recently. I just really want to be a part of putting an end to that. I hope you do too. There's a TV show on Netflix that really warmed my heart up, and maybe you could give it a shot, because I think it'll make you fall in love with people you don't quite understand off the bat. And it's called Love on the Spectrum, and it's about people with autism trying to express their feelings and get to a point where they can communicate with one another and maybe even develop relationships on a romantic level. But it's like a 6-part series. It's really easy to watch, and it's incredibly moving, and it will open your heart up. I guarantee it. So I'll put the link of that down, and I'll put the link of the Spotify song that I just released. But let me know what you think of the song, and just hearing your feedback is enough to keep me going, and it's very encouraging. So thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.